Hi, my name is Erin. I am joined today by Carol Weiss, who is an associate professor from the School of International Relations at the University of Southern California, and a current Fulbright-Masaryk University Distinguished Chair recipient. She has written widely on trade integration, exchange rate crisis, institutional reform, and political economy of market restructuring in the Latin America region. And most recently, she's been working on her forthcoming book, Dragonomics: How Latin America is Maximizing or Missing Out on China's International Development Strategy, which analyzes the rapid economic ties that have been developed between China and Latin America since the 1990s. So thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
So I know I briefly mentioned what you specialize in, but can you just describe a little bit more detail about what it is you work on?
Well, I work on political economy, and so there's international political economy, there's comparative political economy, and I work right on the cusp, right? Mm-hmm. So for example, the China Latin America book that you just mentioned, I have 6 Latin American cases, and I look at each relationship with China that each one has developed, and then I kind of compare and contrast them. So I work, my specialties, well, I'm really a specialist in Latin America and emerging economies.
Okay, that's very interesting. So what were you teaching here? Was it on Latin America or?
I taught 2 courses here, and this was a teaching Fulbright, a teaching grant. I did not prepare or present a research project because I came like ground zero with so little knowledge. So the teaching was an undergraduate class with 16 students called China in the Developing Countries. And then I taught a master's course with 14 students called Politics of the World Economy.
That's really interesting stuff. That's great.
It was great, and I was worried about attracting students. Are there going to be enough? And the class were in English, and it was great. It just the perfect amount of students in each class.
Yeah, it sounds like it. It's good enough for a dialogue. Why do you think it's important for students to be studying this field today, I guess?
Well, I mean, if you're not looking at the international setting and you don't know anything about it, you're shutting yourself out of everyday life, quite frankly. I mean, you've really got to be aware of other countries, other trends, and what makes the world tick.
Yeah, yeah, and the economics piece, I'm sure, is an important part of making that tick.
Yes.
So, yeah, that's great. So, how did you come to be at the Department of International Relations?
The Department of International Relations and European Studies here at Masaryk actually funds this particular Fulbright grant. Mm-hmm. So I believe it's they fund part of it, and then the Fulbright funds part of it with U.S. funds. So it's the only one that I could apply for.
Oh, okay. Well, we're glad that you're here.
Well, the others were research, and as I said, I really didn't have a research project on the Czech Republic. Now I have a big research project on Eastern Europe, but one of the reasons I wanted to come here is to start a new project.
Okay. Okay. What's your research project on?
Well, it's with Professor Ulrich Krepes. Sorry about the pronunciation, but it's comparing 5 countries in Latin America and 5 countries in Eastern Europe, beginning in 1989, which of course is a key period here, but in Latin America it's also key for the implementation of this Washington consensus, these market reforms, market shock treatments, and so we're looking at political economic performance between the 2 regions, right, of emerging economies. And we already know from our early data gathering that Eastern Europe is doing much better than Latin America. So one of the big research questions is why and how.
Yeah, that really sounds important and interesting to do these comparisons. So I guess what do you like about the opportunity to be a Fulbright lecturer here at Masaryk University?
Oh, it's a complete luxury. It is such a luxury. I've only had to teach 2 classes at the University of Southern California, my home institution, in the School of International Relations. I would be on committees and, have so many more responsibilities than I've had this semester. So this semester has been a good chance to really focus on teaching seriously and to get to know colleagues here.
Yeah, which will probably help with further collaboration, I'm sure.
That's right.
So it's good all around.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, I guess in a little bit more detail about the department and the Faculty of Social Studies and the university as a whole, if you've been able to interact?
Well, my only interaction really is with international relations and European studies, and I'm completely impressed. I believe that the university has done, I mean, it's 30 years since the end of communist rule, and they have really modernized and moved forward, I think, in a very impressive way. The quality of the scholarship, the collegiality, the offering of courses, and they bring in foreigners like me all the time.
Yes, I've noticed that about particularly that department. They have
Yes.
a lot. It's great. Why do you think international mobility, like the experience you are on now, is important for professors and not just students?
Well, everywhere I go, and I go a lot of places now, everywhere I go, I bring it back to my classroom. And for example, I just spent a week in Austria, and I learned about, okay, we all know about the Austro-Hungarian Empire and the Habsburgs, but I really learned about it, right? And every piece of information, every phase in different countries, I think it's just really important. I mean, for me, it really, really informs my teaching and my research, but mainly my teaching.
Do you think the classes you'll teach back in California will be different based on your experiences here? In like the topic, not so much, like
well,
obviously you have experiences.
Well, okay, so for example, I do teach a course on the emerging economies, but I would never ever considered including Eastern Europe or Central Europe because I knew so little about it.
Okay.
And so now I'm really feeling confident about doing that.
That's great. That's really great. What do you think about Brno as a place to live?
Well, when I got this scholarship, friends, colleagues were like, "What? Where are you going? What is that? You know, what is that?" And I didn't really know. You can look it up on TripAdvisor or Google Maps. But what I didn't realize that it is a really beautiful sort of. It's a town that still has medieval overtones, the plaza, some of the churches, the castle. So it's been really delightful. I really enjoyed spending time here.
That's great. That's really great. How does it compare, I guess, to your home city in California?
Los Angeles?
Well, yes,
I mean,
yes.
night and day, night and day. I'm in a metropolitan area with 10 million people, and I think Brno is maybe 300,000, a little more.
The
Yeah.
population of the Czech Republic is about 10 million.
Right.
So,
So that's right. So but this is the whole point of the Fulbright, though, to put yourself in a completely different situation and to just, get with the program of a different set of norms and rules in a completely foreign country. I mean, that's what the Fulbright's all about.
that's great. Do you think that Fulbright-Masaryk University is a good location for international students to come to?
Well, I do, although because it's in Brno and because most people say, "What's that?" I think that one of the challenges has been truly internationalizing it with the student population. Although there are a lot of foreign students here, I think that it could be further internationalized. It is a really good deal, right? I mean, it's inexpensive. My university, the tuition alone is $40,000 a year. That's ridiculous. So I do think that it has been difficult. And most students want to go to Prague, right?
Yeah.
But that this has tremendous potential.
Do you think you'll recommend some of your students in California to
Absolutely,
try here?
yes, absolutely. I would definitely. I would recommend it, especially for a master's degree, right?
Yeah. I personally agree completely. So I guess just lastly, do you have any advice for students at all to share your wisdom?
You mean Czech students in general? Well, okay, this is not new. I say this to my students at home, and I'll say it here, do the readings. I know it's hard to do all of the readings, but I do see a lot of students cutting corners on the readings. My own students at home do it too, and it won't kill you if you do the readings for the class.
I think that's spoken like a true professor. So, well, thank you for your time, and I'm glad to hear that you had a good time while spending it in Brno and at Masaryk University.
Thank you, Erin. It has been really fantastic.
Great, thank you.